Welcome to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey, it's Debbie, and I just wanted to share with you a new device I have discovered. It is called BioSense. It helps me figure out if I am burning fat or carbohydrates for fuel. And this allows me to determine, am I needing to eat more carbs, more fat, whatever works for me, matching my fueling with my training and working on nutritional ketosis, but also metabolic flexibility that some days I want to be out of ketosis. So I can use this device without pricking my finger. It's a breath test, and it is super simple. And you do not need to pay any monthly membership fees. So BioSense helps you determine your fat burn and gives you information on how your diet and exercise impact your ability to metabolize fat and how to get into that fat burning state as well as out of it. So some of you might know that we don't need to be in nutritional ketosis 24/7. We want to be in and out of it. So check out BioSense, save with our coupon code LOWCARB20 to get $20 off your purchase. LOWCARB20, head to BioSense, myBiosense.com and learn more how to start testing and not guessing what fuel source you are burning today. Hey, it's Debbie Potts, the host of the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, and I am going to do another podcast going over fasting for the athlete and the female athlete specifically, and then even more specifically, the pre-menopausal athlete, obviously female. And I think it is an important topic to dive into because I think many of us, including myself, have done too many fasted workouts and do too many hours of fasting or not eating enough calories. So we're in that low calorie deficit and low energy availability. And we might not know it. We just think we need to do more of it. So my theory is always more is not better. Sometimes less is more. And my experience with fasting starting back, 2005, I started going into low carb and adding higher fats and really not focusing on the protein back then as I am now. And I really think it's important as an athlete, endurance athlete, and aging athlete, and a female athlete that is aging, to figure out what works best for you where you are in your life right now, and not try to do what everyone else is doing, because the information out there on fasting, keto, carnivore, low carb is based primarily on people with metabolic damage, health issues, and also a lot of the research is done on men, not women. And then there's more individuality that we need to look at. So this is why I focus on these topics on the show. This is why I've focused my business the last couple of years on training, fueling training, performing personalized programs for the endurance athlete. And especially if you're over 40, we need to adjust things a little bit and not do what everybody else says. And we also need to remember, just because it worked for somebody else that you know, and they had huge results in weight loss and they got faster, it is so individual. So look at the 8 elements of the holistic method. It's nutrition, it's exercise, stress, sleep, stress management, not getting more stress, sleep hygiene, movement, mobility throughout the day, happiness, gratitude, playfulness, being more joyful every day, thriving, not struggling to survive the day. And then these are not in order, but they're all important. The hydration, not drinking too much caffeinated beverages as I'm having my coffee right now, and having more mineral water as I have my bottle here of Gerolsteiner sparkling natural mineral water that has the highest mineral content in mineral water. And then element, I'll put my water a lot during the day. So digestion and gut health is the other element of the holistic method where it's really, really important to focus on, especially for the athlete, because we are breaking down our gut. Wall lining becomes leaky, so we get what's called leaky gut or permeable gut wall lining. We create dysbiosis when stress is on. Our immune system and our defense team is lacking, so we get more susceptibility to pathogens, parasites, bacteria overgrowth. So we really need to not be so confident that we're so fit and healthy as an athlete because you do an Ironman or 100-mile run. You really need to focus on the holistic approach to being fit and healthy from the inside out. So remember to take care of the whole you with the elements of the holistic method that I suggest, and really looking at not just your exercise and your nutrition. That should not be the same year round. It should change. In females, it should change every couple weeks. And we need to look at when is it appropriate to add in a little bit more calories, a little bit more carbs, a little more protein. Really not just doing all fat and forgetting protein and forgetting any carbs, and really finding that right balance for you for nutrition. But the microbiome is huge, and everybody I test when I do functional lab testing, we always run 3 to 5 labs because we just look at blood chemistry. It gives clues to other labs that might be showing some imbalances. So a blood test marker, we can find out, is there markers that are above or below the optimal range? And the doctor ranges of labs, by the way, that you'll get from your doctor are completely different than the ranges we use in functional medicine. So I was just working on my own labs this morning and putting them in the functional range. The doctor, even the naturopath, said my ranges were normal in range, but I put them in our functional spreadsheet, and I have a lot of high and low markers that they didn't think were anything off optimal levels. So, I have low iron, and my thyroid, free T4 and my free T3 are low, and my antibodies are higher. They're 12, but my TPO antibodies should be under 10, or, not just showing anything, but just 1 or below 1, 0. So that is a clue to dysfunction, but it's more looking at, why is there dysfunction? Why is my iron low? Why is my thyroid low? Why is my vitamin D low? Not just take a bunch of supplements to correct that, but we still need to figure out where is that coming from, creating that imbalance. And so we need to look at other tests like the GI map, look at the Dutch test, look at organic acids tests, look at your food zoomers, look at your wheat zoomer through Vibrant Wellness, and really get that whole picture, because we're just kind of shooting blank darts at the wall and throwing, spaghetti at the wall, trying to figure out what works for you, and wasting a lot of time and a lot of money. And so we want to look at your markers. Like my testosterone is incredibly low, and to me that's a good indication of why I cannot get strength and power. And I've been lifting weights 4 days a week. I've been trying to get stronger doing legs, and I can't do anything but the lowest weight plate on a machine. So it's really looking at the whole picture, and that's what I do as a FDN practitioner, nutritional therapy practitioner, and a Keon coach, and all the other programs I've done. But I really think it's important to look at the whole athlete and not just being so narrow-minded that we're invincible. So I think it's important to look at specific topics as I'm trying to dive into on the Thursdays episodes with me on my podcast. So going back to the topic today, nutrition and fueling for the female endurance athlete. Fasting what should we do? Well, here's some information Ben Greenfield had in a past podcast that I've already discussed, but just to review, this is more for men over women. So men, you'll get some tips here. So Ben Greenfield suggests staying in mild ketosis for athletes, 1 to 3 millimoles all day long, but not eating carbs much until evening time. So he doesn't eat the carbs all day. He works out later afternoon, early evening, and times his workout in between the meals. So you have your workout post lunch a couple hours later, and then you work out, say 4 o'clock, then you wait an hour or two before you have dinner to improve that insulin sensitivity that you have after workout. So Ben has his carbs. Now, obviously, he's very muscular and super lean, but he can do 100 grams to 200 grams at dinner. And a lot of his athletes can do that as well. So when we say low carb, that doesn't mean 50 grams of carbs. It could be 100 to 200 grams. Dr. Dan Plews suggests 130 grams is what works for him, but testing and not guessing, using a metabolic efficiency testing, getting someone to test you as PNOE, P-N-O-E, near you that can do testing, which I'm going to start doing here in San Diego. But really individualizing how many carbs do you need. If you're more athletic, it's going to be different than the regular person that's not doing any exercise, but maybe a morning walk. So if you're like me, I lifted weights this morning. I went for a run and did some hill repeats that were a little more glycogen depleting. And then I'm going to do master swim workout at noon today in Solana Beach. And then I'm going tonight. I am probably doing a little 30-minute yoga. I go for a walk, but sometimes try to get a walk in tonight. So I think it's really looking at your schedule and looking at your ideal day. And that's what I do with my clients. Even if you do my new client special, I just kind of go, okay, let's look at what you're doing, what we could do better, and let's figure out a better plan to be your best self and to improve fat loss, performance, and health. So Ben, as I said, carbs at dinner, and he doesn't eat anything. It doesn't eat a lot of carbs until the next evening meal. So if you're staying in more nutritional ketosis during the day, for an athlete, maybe carb refeed in the evening, you should have enough energy stored in muscle glycogen for your morning workout if you're doing more of a high intensity interval training or a glycogen depleting type of workout. So you can stay insulin sensitive state post workout, have an evening refeed of carbs, restock on those glycogen stores in your liver and muscles, because you can upregulate, we talked about this in previous show, GLUT4 transporters. So you don't need insulin to shuttle that glucose into your muscles. After workout, you upregulate another form of transportation of glucose, is the GLUT4 transporters that will shuttle that glucose into your muscles. So that's pretty cool. I like learning about that GLUT4. Now, morning cortisol. If you've done a Dutch test, which everyone should do, it's another test. Again, these are not covered by insurance. They are usually, $250 to $350 per lab, but they're so valuable. So your morning cortisol should naturally be higher. Our body is a freaking amazing in its own innate intelligence to actually have hormones go up and hormones go down to wake us up, to help us fall asleep. So cortisol and melatonin are in opposition. And so when cortisol is elevated in the morning to get us up, get us started, melatonin should go down. We're more insulin sensitive in the morning because cortisol higher, glucose is going to be higher. And then our insulin, we can have more little insulin sensitivity in the morning, which is why a lot of times even Ben Bikman in his book, Dr. Bikman says, you don't need to eat breakfast. You can wait a little bit longer to eat because we have natural higher glucose in our system. Now you can exercise late in the afternoon if you can, that's a great time. It's a good way to improve your insulin sensitivity. Again, post workout so you can enjoy the healthy sources of carbs at night. So the best time of day to work out, of course, is always when you're going to do it and be consistent. And so working out, I think a lot of times people after work, before dinner, is, yes, a great time for your body, but a lot of times we have excuses or reasons or other commitments that come in the way. So I look at my schedule on Sundays. Hey, where am I blocking off my workout schedule? And I block it off in my calendar. So I'm swimming these days of the week at noon. So I'm going to block off 11:30 to 1:30. If I'm lifting weights at night, I block it off 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm going to the gym and doing a workout and not work after 5. If I'm going in the morning, it's a little easier because no one wants to meet me at 5:30 in the morning. I can do my run, beach walk, and get home, shower to be ready to work around 8 a.m. So what works for you is going to depend. So here is the morning cortisol we talked about, exercising late afternoon. So this is what we've talked about with Dr. Dan Plu's information on Endure IQ is training low, competing high. And that training low, you're increasing your fat metabolism. So as a fat adapted athlete, if you're not, we do a 4 to 6 week fat adaptation process where we do kind of a cold keto 2 weeks at a time for a female based on her menstrual cycle. Men go into it for 3 weeks. And then we work on finding that last phase where we're course correcting, finding your sweet spot. And that will change, of course, based on your training schedule and your season where you are and your workout. So, eating low carb diet, and then sometimes you add a little more carbs in if you're doing more glycogen depleting. So slightly lower glycogen stores, training low and competing, racing at a higher level or saving carbs for your hardest workouts can enhance your fat metabolism and increase your endurance performance. So eating low carb diet and then timing those carbs in the evening meal, or do a 5-1-1 where you're doing 5 days keeping it low carb, one day kind of a carb refeed day of healthy carbs, not crap, and then one day you're doing a dinner to dinner or lunch to lunch 24-hour fast. Which brings me to the main topic of this show today is fasting. And athletes should fast like 12 to 15 hours to not cause additional stress, especially women who are already more stressed and we don't need to overload our stress bucket. So we want to look out to what is going on in our life to know when is it appropriate to fast and when should we eat a little calories, even if it's 20 calories in your coffee before a workout. So, looking at what your workout is in the morning, fasted workout or not, well, like a Metcon workout, the carbs you eat in the evening are going to give you enough fuel as your liver and glycogen stores will be topped off. Sometimes you wake up, your liver will be a little lower glycogen stores, but if you need an extra boost of energy, using essential amino acids, creatine before a workout, the creatine, and I get mine both from Kion, and you can take capsules or powder, and that will help avoid neuromuscular fatigue as tryptophan crosses over the blood-brain barrier, give you a little focus. I like taking HVMN ketones, the ketone IQ, and that will help you as well in a fasted state if you're going to work out. I've been experimenting having Laird's unsweetened or even the vanilla or cinnamon or pumpkin creamer we just had in my coffee, because that will give me, as a female athlete, just enough calories so my body doesn't feel like it is under an emergency threat. So, 20 calories isn't going to kick me out of burning fat. And that's my goal, is I don't have to be strict nutritional ketosis, but I want to be burning fat. And then sometimes it is important to burn carbohydrates. Like in a sprint workout, I'm going to be burning carbs. So my goal is not going to be staying in nutritional ketosis when I'm doing hill repeats and being anaerobic. Of course, it's to improve my speed and my power. So it is looking at why, what's your workout, what's your purpose, and look at nutrition to match that. And then fasting or not fasting, depends on the type of workout you're doing and if you're male or female. And then we look at your stressors in your life. So having aminos like 5 to 10 grams beforehand, and then post-workout having 10 to 20 grams is a podcast I did with Angelo Keeley of Kion, strictly on essential amino acids. You can go back and find on previous podcasts in this past year, 2022. So you can stay fat burning and have some calories, instead of carbs, you're having some like Bub's collagen, and they have MCT oil powder in my coffee, or the Laird's creamer with some mushroom, the cordyceps and reishi, and I forget the other one in there, but that's another option. It has some MCT from coconut. So you can really experiment. Does this help me give me more energy for my workout? Because I want to get stronger. I want to get faster, and I'm looking for more power. If I'm doing repeats, or I need to start doing more plyometrics, and I just don't have any oomph. So being fasted so long isn't serving my goal and getting me where I want. So that's when I think you need to go, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so highly anal about staying in a fasted state before a workout if your workouts suck, if you want me to be blunt. So another thing Ben Greenfield said in this article, or this was a podcast I did, you want to stay in autophagy fasting state. You can listen to, Rob Wolf, and you can hear about that exercise gives you good cell autophagy, gives you many benefits. So doing fasted exercise, you don't need to stress your body that way and hamper your performance, but having your carbs, figuring out your carb tolerance test, as Rob Wolf's book I have in front of me here, Wired to Eat, and then, timing those at dinner, or for women, having a little bit of calories before their workout, just like 20 calories can help improve performance. But the other scenario is if you are doing 2 workouts a day, what are you going to do? Like I lifted and ran this morning. I was done at 7 in the morning. I'm going to go swim 11:45 to 1 o'clock. So I have some calories in my coffee. I'm going to have some bacon as soon as I'm done this call. I just had a shot of Ketone IQ to record this call, and that Ketone IQ also helps with my recovery. And then what am I going to eat before a workout? I have to time it that I don't eat too close to swimming because I will regurgitate that swimming. So I need to figure out, all right, I can have some bacon and some eggs, but I have to eat that like 3 hours before my swim workout. Or I'm going to don't have time to eat. There's a new bar, Laird's Superfood, I like because they have the mushrooms. I've been researching the benefits of different mushrooms, of cordyceps, reishi, and getting adaptogens as ashwagandha, put that into something before I work out, like a bar, and have some tea. So athletes, if you're like a pro athlete, or if you're doing a double like I am today, you cannot adequately, this is from a podcast Ben did and talked about this, you cannot adequately replenish carb stores enough if you're doing 2 workouts within an 8-hour time period. If your workout is in the morning, then you have another training session 8 hours away. Like my example is lifting at 5:37 a.m. and my run, I guess, is done at 7:30 a.m. and then I'm swimming 11:45. Well, that's 8 hours. So what I should be doing is consuming carbs 20 to 60 minutes post finish in my workout this morning to replenish the carb stores so I can perform as well as I want to my second workout of the day, which is swimming. So it depends on the workout intensity. If I'm doing a low heart rate, maffetone, max aerobic function heart rate, so me, that's like 130 something heart rate, I'm burning pretty much high percentage of fat. I'm not going to deplete my carbohydrate stores. But if I'm doing a crushing it type of workout, as Ben would say, then you need to fuel appropriately after the first workout. So if I'm anaerobic this morning and I'm going to do an anaerobic swim set, I need to fuel appropriately for that swim right after my morning workout. So again, it depends. And when I'm working with clients on timing their fueling with their training, we need to look at like training peaks and map it out and look at what your workouts are. Because of course you shouldn't be a crushing it workout back-to-back days either. And we need to do our speed workout, short intensity interval sprints all out, but then we need to allow a day or two of low heart rate training before you do that again. So you can wait 1 to 2 hours after workout to eat your carb refeed post-workout meal, as if you want to take advantage of the amplified levels of growth hormone and testosterone that occur when you don't eat right after the workout and wait for upregulation of neuroendocrine favorable hormone response post-workout and avoid overtraining. Now, this is what Ben said, but Dr. Stacy Sims says, women, we do need to eat 30 minutes after a workout and get that protein in with some carbs, as having a Keon whey shake unsweetened, and I'll throw some nut butter in there. That would be in that 30-minute window. Men can wait up to 3 hours and still get the benefit of restoring and recovering their muscle glycogen. So if your morning workout is light, low intensity movement as a low heart rate training or sauna with yoga, walk in the sunshine, it's not a carb depleting workout, then you can save your carbs for the dinner evening meal. Now, the best time of day when you're able to work out, as Ben says, like doing a Metcon workout, is between 4 to 6 p.m., but a lot of us can't do that time. So if you're doing a morning workout, you need to figure out when is the best time you'll actually fit it in. So why is it 4 to 6 p.m. the optimal time? Well, your body temperature peaks during that time, grip strength, reaction time, post-workout, protein synthesis peaks, second rise of testosterone occurs. So the ideal way to start your day is outside in the sunshine, not with sunglasses on, as I saw people this morning on my workout. Like, why are you wearing sunglasses at 6:30 in the morning? You want to see that sunshine to help reset your circadian rhythm and get your eyes to that morning sun, and that helps your production of melatonin. And then evening, when the sun goes down, we want to get off the blue light because that's going to help the release of melatonin. So wait until your dinner to have your carbs unless you have a 2-a-day workout within 8 hours. Whew. All right. So if you're a female, I have all these articles I put together on a blog. It is called debbiepotts.net, Nutrition and Fueling for the Female Endurance Athlete. All the blogs I found to research articles on female athletes were from Dr. Stacy Sims. I found a research article, but it was funded by the Gatorade Sports Science Institute. So I'm always wary about that. Now, if you're a fat adapted female athlete, and you're premenopausal, so you still have your hormones fluctuating during the month, we want to look at how we're training, when we're training, and figure out the timing for everything. So if you go to my website and go to the free ebooks, I do have a new ebook out there you can find on mapping out your cycle. And I've done a few different programs looking at the hormone cycle for the female athlete. And then we've got great information that Endure IQ has in their program on the low carb, high fat athlete, working with them to figure out when you are in your first half of your cycle, the follicular cycle, when you're in ovulation, and when you're in luteal phase, how your training will change based on that information. So we can touch on that. And I created a program in Training Peaks that I'll put in my client's coaching program. Let's figure out what is day one for you of your cycle, and let's map out when is your estimated ovulation days and your early luteal, mid luteal, late luteal phase, and we'll map it out. Then we can change the workout schedule based on that information, and then we can figure out what is the best time to do fasted exercise, and that's usually right in the middle of their workout or their menstrual cycle. So we don't want to do fasted exercise. Stacy Sims, Dr. Sims, has done research on this in females versus men in her 2 books she has out there, and women should eat before they train. So we want to individualize that fueling program for females versus men and not say everyone's the same, here's the protocol. Let's look at more individuality and get a more personalized training, fueling, performance program based on your whole health investigation, your gut health, your food sensitivities, your stressors, external and hidden internal stressors. So we need to really fine tune it, but then figure out, is it appropriate for you as an athlete, female or male, to fast, and when should you fast based on your training schedule, based on your fueling plan, based on your dinner the night before, and maybe timing it. Because sometimes I don't eat later in the day. I'll have my main meal at 2 or 3 o'clock, then I'm full the rest of the day. So then I don't feel like eating at night, but then if I go work out in the morning, that's probably too long a period of time of me not eating anything. So that would serve me well to work on my goals, improving performance, as well as fat loss, of course. But I want to get stronger and faster, then I should add some calories into my coffee and not freak out that I'm breaking my fast. So just some thoughts for you. I can't go over all these articles. I put together information in this blog post. I'll put in the show notes here. But it is, when you are fat adapted and you're female athlete, let's figure out if you have enough energy on board. We want to avoid that low energy availability. I did a whole show in that. And you want to look at, is this too much stress in my body? So I'll finish with this part. Dr. Stacy Sims talks about that all comes down to kisspeptin. She says it's a neuropeptide that is responsible for sex hormones and endocrine and reproduction function, which plays a significant role in maintaining healthy glucose levels, appetite regulation, and body composition. It's also more sensitive in women than men. So when this kisspeptin hormone gets perturbed, our sex hormones are not produced and released the way they need to be. Dr. Sims continues on saying intermittent fasting and keto both disrupt kisspeptin production. And her research is more on the female athlete who's training a lot and racing high intensity. So when our brain perceives we have a deficiency in nutrients, especially carbohydrate, we have a marked reduction in kisspeptin stimulation, which not only increases our appetite, but also reduces our sensitivity to insulin. This is why research shows intermittent fasting is more likely to cause impaired glucose intolerance in women, not men. And if you know my history, my story, my journey, Debbie Potts, had adrenal exhaustion appear, obviously, about March 2013. And I continued fasting and doing more OMAD type of stuff, I think 2015 on, until I figured out I was doing too much because I was already stressed running my own fitness studio for 10 years and had a huge financial commitment to that business, and just constant stress of building my own business is a lot of stress. And then you add on training at a competitive level for Ironman on an elite team, that is a load. And then I was working as a trainer and teaching classes all day and coaching people. So I was moving, exercising. So as Stacey Sims says here, what happens when we layer on exercise stress on top of stress denying our bodies of important fuel source, while our stress hormones like cortisol rise even higher. And as you keep increasing that stress, your sympathetic drive is high and it reduces your ability to relax. Hello? She's talking to me. This is what happened to me. I was so uptight and driven. That's why I say, what do? I coach driven, ambitious, high-performing athletes. And this is why happiness, play, laughter, joyful is one of the 8 elements of the holistic method. We're so uptight. We're driven. We're stressed out to the max, but we think we are just high performers, and this is how it is. Our body starts to store fat. Belly fat. I gained 30 pounds after doing my best race in Ironman Hawaii. I did a 50K trail run North Face that December. The January I did a marathon in Carlsbad, did a great time. Then February 2013, I did a 50K trail run in Bellingham, Washington. And then March, I had nothing. I gained 30 pounds in June 2013. I weighed myself and I was not changing much, but weight kept coming on. Stress, you guys, it kills you. So you will store more body fat. You're looking at disrupted menstrual cycles, higher anxiety and stress, impaired performance, and of course, as I just said, weight gain. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're doing intermittent fasting and keto, low carb to improve our fat loss, to improve performance, and to improve the aging process. But anything you do too much can cause additional stress, dysfunction, imbalance, or what we say as the FDN practitioners, metabolic chaos. And I am on a mission to help you avoid doing what I did to myself 10 years ago, because I was doing all this before we really knew it was keto. It was OMAD. There wasn't a name for it. I was just using my intuition, trying to figure out, why am I not losing weight when I'm training so much and I'm not looking the way I want to look? And yeah, I'm fat adapted. I don't need to eat and I'm full and satisfied, but I was doing it too much. So Stacy Sims continues in this article, say the ketogenic diet has similar effects on female athletes. We hear people rave and increase mental focus on a keto diet. Yeah, for men, they can do that. Men have increased their parasympathetic, the rest and digest activity, so they can feel more relaxed, more present. But on the other hand, women, female athletes, keto can kick up our fight or flight sympathetic drive. So instead, we feel more anxious, more prone to being depressed. We can't sleep. We impact our hormonal health, our performance, well-being, body composition. And then she says, sometimes women will contend that these diets work so well for them, and they might for the first 3 months. And as all diet will give you some benefit in the short term, but long term, female athletes, we beget what I just tested my labs, endocrine dysfunction. My testosterone and estrogen is really low. Increase in abdominal fat, more depression, and fat gain. If you're trying to lose fat, you may actually benefit from adding a little bit of calories. As I said, the Bub's MCT oil powder and collagen into your coffee before, or have some tea, or have a little bite of a quarter of a bar. Just not being in a fasted state might help you actually burn more fat. So important information I think we need to express on this show, that not all carbs are bad, not all carbs are evil. It's eating real food, not eating the junk, avoiding gluten, wheat, avoiding inflammatory foods, the processed packaged foods. Those carbs are bad. They're crap. And the keto foods out there are also crap. So eating real food that doesn't have a package with a bunch of foreign ingredients that is going to stabilize your blood sugar and not drive the sugar up more than 30 and come back down to baseline between 70 and 90. That's what we're looking at. What food, how does it make you feel? Does it give you energy? Does it give you clarity? Does it give you good workout? So I am going to talk to Chris Irvine now and podcast on his show, but I just wanted to touch on these topics before I chat with him. So let me know your questions and we'll continue this conversation.
Thanks for listening to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at debbiepotts.net. You can help us to continue to grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.